it's not just kind of winning games and kind of, well, can they squeak into the playoffs via the wild card? I think something special is really, really happening here, man. They've already moved from the second wild card spot to the first one, and now they're 4 points behind from the number 3 spot in the Atlantic Division in the East.
It's bringing casual fans to just Detroit sports fans. WeezyD313 says in the chat, I was watching the Wings Saturday as a novice. That shit was so hype, but I was fooling that first period. I've been smashing that Wings money line too. Like, it's bringing out everybody to go and watch and support these Red Wings. It's having that Lions effect, but you're right, Kool-Aid. This team is special, and I think this weekend taught us just that. It was an electric Saturday night at LCA against the Blues. Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, was in the building, blowing the horn.
Which day was he in there?
Saturday.
And that's that the offense for the Red Wings went ham.
Well, they scored 3 goals in like the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Their offense went nutty. 6-1 defeat of the Blues. And then, back-to-back, they have to head to Chicago. Not just for any game. Although Chicago's struggling this year, this is a big moment for them. And they talked about it like a playoff game. They were honoring Chris Chelios, another former Red Wing champion, at Chicago, that arena. They were retiring his number 7 jersey. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but the program before the game, the ceremony before the game, was really cool, honoring Chelly. He then was calling out Patrick Kane in his speech, saying Patrick Kane is the best American-born hockey player of all time. A pretty cool nod to him. And this is all surrounding Patrick Kane, his first time returning to Chicago, first time returning to that ice since he left as a member of the Blackhawks. DeBrincat was back. It was an incredible game, too. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that game, but just all the emotions surrounding it, I don't think it could have been handled better by Chicago, their fans, everything they did to honor Kane, to honor Chelios. It was just a really cool night for Detroit Red Wings fans. It felt weird being in Chicago, but it was cool. It was special. Use that word. It was special. Also, JB, that bar right there, let's go, bro.
Woodward Sports is MVP,
Come
man.
on.
Let me shout them out before we get into this. KG in the sound booth.
Yeah.
Detroit's #1 draft pick.
You know it.
The back wall graphics, the calls, everything, man, the sounds. And then we got Woodward Sports' MVP over here, JB Smooth in the TD booth, man. He continues to keep us on the cutting edge at Woodward Sports, man.
Definitely.
Thank you for all that you guys do. I'm glad to have these guys on the show. But special, man. People continue to wonder, is Hockey Town back? And you know who actually said that, though? You know who actually said this is Hockey Town?
Tammy Chin?
Of course, our chat MVP. Shout out to Tammy.
out.
But Patrick Kane, man. Patrick Kane. And you know what? It's crazy. It's crazy. When we put this graphic up, I remember the first time we put this graphic up on socials way back in November, people said, that got to be a fake quote. Then we put it up again after last night just because Patrick Kane has been on an absolute tear. And it's like, hey, let's remind people exactly what he's been saying about this. He said, my heart and my mind always goes back to Detroit. They called it Hockey Town for a reason. And the jersey's beautiful, too. I see no lies. And Tammy Shin said, Hockey Town never left.
That's right.
Never
That's right.
left.
It was just taking a little vacation. The town was still alive. The team was struggling. The new
was just a
arena,
little
new
itis.
home, but it's here now. It's alive. Terry, that's where I'm coming to you. Hockey Town is alive. Was left and came back.
It's alive. However, I'm a stickler. I'm used to Red Wings making playoff runs. It doesn't get going to me until they make a playoff run.
Fair.
And that may not happen this year. But I will say this. It seems like every time the Red Wings make a move, something magical has to happen. For instance, we remember when Darren McCarty kicked Claude Lemieux's ass. We remember when Scotty Bowman wanted to trade Steve Yzerman, and that galvanized the fan base a little bit. I think yesterday with Patrick Kane, a guy that you weren't sure if he was going to play this year, and if he was, how effective was he going to be? He goes back to Chicago, where he made his legacy and scores the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
That's magic right there.
That's magic, man. And you know what? It seems like as the NFL now has kind of ended, those script writers, they just kind of found their way over to the NHL. And right now, they got the Red Wings looking pretty nice. I don't know how much more storybook ending that can get. This wasn't just somebody going back to their former team at the end of their career. They're not really putting together like a good season, but at least they have a good night on that night. This is Patrick Kane, who, in my opinion, this was one of those punctuation games. Like, no, I've been absolutely raking, and it's not going to stop tonight. Patrick Kane, you know what I loved? Was just how into it he was, man. Just absolutely how into he was. After he scored that goal, the way he kind of skated around the ice, the way he kind of saluted the fans and all of that, that was magical. I got to agree with Terry. I think that we're seeing something special. Not only is Hockey Town definitely back, but I think that we're seeing something special with these Red Wings, and they're going to give themselves a great chance, man, to be able to move out of the wild card spot and firmly into a playoff spot. If the Maple Leafs weren't on a 7-game win streak right now, we might be sitting here talking about them being in that spot right now.
Right.
And they got to keep the pressure on. They got to keep the heat on, man. This is exciting. This is absolutely exciting. I've attended now about 4 or 5 Red Wing games this year. Every single one of them have been fun. I've been taking my son down there the same way my mom took me down there, trying to get back into the hockey of things, trying to get back into the Red Wings. And honestly, to start the season, I didn't know that we were going to see this out of the Red Wings. You always kind of go on and you want to root on your teams, but I did not know we were going to see what we've been experiencing. And Steve Yzerman, man, you talk about bringing in DeBrincat, you talk about going out there, and I don't know what you do, what mojo you put on to have Patrick Kane be in a position where he's saying, Detroit is where my heart, my mind is at.
Yeah, wow.
When you have an opportunity to select where you're going to go, it's about what Steve Yzerman has done. Like we talk about a lot about what Brad Holmes has done for the Lions. You talk about the young players. You talk about sprinkling in the right amount of vets, and now this squad has the opportunity to go out there and do something special. And I like Alex Lyon, man. I like the goalie a lot. I like him a lot.
He was a stud on Saturday, and even James Reimer had some massive saves yesterday against the Blackhawks. There was the Connor Bedard fast break. They call it a fast break in hockey. Connor Bedard, he tried to dangle James Reimer and didn't. But Patrick Kane, we got to talk about this, and we got to talk actually real quick. You're mentioning Steve Yzerman. There have been, I believe it's 75 goals from players who weren't on the Red Wings last year. That's the highest number, number in the NHL. 75 Red Wings have scored. They weren't on the roster last season. That's
Young
massive.
fella. It's not a fast break. It's an odd man rush.
Odd man rush. There we go. There we go.
But
And
Alex Lyon, Steve Yzerman had to play goalie roulette because the way he wanted to build this team was from the goal on out. And then the goalie part, he kept getting, bringing guys in. It didn't quite work out. But now Alex Lyon, man, this dude is nuts. He's from upper Minnesota, a town I never even heard of. But when teams pull upsets in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's because of the goalie.
There you go.